You are sitting perfectly still, yet you feel completely exhausted. Your mind is racing, trapped in endless, deafening noise. Your body remains at rest, while your brain runs a frantic marathon, replaying a 5-year-old conversation or constructing elaborate disasters for an event that hasn't even happened. Intelligence often masks a far more rigid psychological pattern, a repetitive cycle that effectively locks your focus into a destructive and inescapable loop. This closed-loop system operates independently of your personality, feeding on itself and draining your energy, while offering zero practical returns or solutions. The brain generates this intrusive noise as a misguided survival tactic, interpreting uncertainty as an active threat and launching a preemptive defense. Your mind maps out vulnerabilities to build a psychological profile. Valuing competence, it weaponizes perfectionism. Valuing status, it weaponizes pride. It runs on a flawed premise, assuming that generating fear and anxiety somehow keeps you safe from harm. While the mind intends to provide security, the actual result is a self-imposed psychological cage that locks you into a state of perpetual internal turbulence. Because the overthinker detests uncertainty, they try to manage it by predicting every possible future outcome, believing that total anticipation equals total safety. This desperate need expands until you try to tightly control your life, your circumstances, and the people around you. Instead of bringing order, this rigidity destabilizes your mental state. When the real world inevitably refuses to follow your internal script, the reaction is severe. You fall into sudden despondency and emotional unpredictability because you lack the flexibility to handle the unexpected. When the future proves too difficult to manage, the mind pivots backward. It performs a sort of mental time travel, obsessively dissecting past regrets to fix things that can no longer be changed. Attempting to control every detail of life fails to prevent chaos. It actively manufactures deep, relentless emotional turbulence from within. The trap remains effective because of a clever deception. Your brain convinces you that this frantic mental spinning is a highly productive form of problem solving. True problem solving targets a resolution and stops. Overthinking behaves like a parasitic growth, multiplying endlessly into a psychological tumor. This internal knot projects outward, generating intense social anxiety and forcing defensive, exaggerated personality traits to cope with the noise. Overthinking fails to solve external problems while manufacturing internal ones, warping your personality and leaving you deeply insecure. To dismantle this process, we can look to the ancient practice of nepsis, or watchfulness. This requires treating intrusive thoughts as a byproduct of a destabilized process rather than objective facts. Right now, you are standing completely still, allowing the incoming bullets of negative thoughts to strike you directly. Watchfulness changes this dynamic. By observing your mind closely, you begin to spot those incoming thoughts from a distance, learning to dodge or reject them before they can take root. By actively watching the horizon of your mind, you regain the power to intercept these destructive loops long before they can wreak havoc on your emotional state. You can apply this immediately by forcing your mind back into the present. Ask yourself, is this specific thought actually useful to me at this exact moment? You must also limit the time spent agonizing over decisions. Set a strict deadline and then take immediate physical action to prevent the mind from generating new disasters. The final key is surrendering the illusion of control. Accepting uncertainty, rather than fighting to dominate it, starves the psychological feedback loop of the anxiety it needs to survive. By guiding your thoughts rather than suffering them, the chaotic storm of your mind settles into deep, unshakable calm.